And welcome to the Turns Out podcast. I am your host, Julian Camacho, a.k.a. Jules. And with me, as I live and breathe, my buddy from college, Ben, the free baller wax. How are you doing, Ben?
I'm doing great, Julian. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing excellent.
Yeah, this sounds very formal.
Extremely formal. Too formal. So, basically, this is probably the most important episode of the Turns Out podcast. It's episode number 10, but mainly we're going to be talking about my all-time favorite subject, Batman. More importantly, Batman through the eyes of Christopher Nolan. And this will be, sadly, the last chapter of the Dark Knight trilogy.
It is a sad thing, but I'm very much looking forward to some kind of finality in the series. And it's good that it's going to be, a closed system that nobody else can mess with it. Exactly.
I've always felt that it was such a crime how bad Joel Schumacher fucked the Tim Burton franchise. And I've always thought the solution would be exactly that, adding some sort of finality to it so no one can really taint it or try to exploit it just by using the name. And I'm just super excited because I don't think there's ever really been like a genre film that has a definitive third chapter ending. Even the Star Wars films or The Godfather, there's always that sort of feeling of continuity, like that, or rather that sort of proverbial balloon being expanded but not ever popping. Like even Jurassic Park 3 had like no real finality to it, and turns out there's a 4 coming out. Indiana Jones 3 should have had a super final ending, but it didn't, and unfortunately we were all scarred with Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls. Even Return of the Jedi, which is arguable.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all the other one, but let's put the Jedi away. One thing I wanted to bring up: what about Back to the Future?
Back to the Future is one of them, but then of course there also is the other curse of the third film, which is not only a lack of finality to it, but just a general, a clear drop off in quality. And all the films that I mentioned, minus I would say, the Last Crusade.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's the only. I think that right now it's the only hands down best third film. Return of the Jedi, arguably not as good as Empire, and some of you out there will be like, "What about Lord of the Rings: Return of the King?" I don't think it's as good as Two Towers. I think it's a little off paced. Dude, those 14 endings at the end, even though I love them.
Oh, absolutely.
Even though as a huge Lord of the Rings nerd, even though I love them very much, I can see why people would be frustrated by them. So just overall, in terms of both nerd and general audience, I have a sneaking suspicion that The Dark Knight Rises will in fact be hands down the best threequel, as people have been calling these. I mean, come on, Spider-Man, X-Men Last Stand, these were all
they were horrible.
Garbage. Terrible.
They were
terrible
horrible.
Garbage.
But those, I don't know what Sam Raimi did on the third Spider-Man, but X-Men, it did change directors with
exactly. At least X-Men has an excuse. Frankly, I think Raimi just had a fluke in the second one. I thought Spider-Man 3 was exactly what I originally expected out of Raimi. A lot of people give me shit for that. I'm not the biggest Raimi fan, even though I'm a big fan of the Evil Dead. Well, the second one, Army of Darkness. I guess that's another superior third film, right? But it's on such a lower scale. But either way,
yeah.
Let's bring this back to where it belongs in Gotham City here. And we just received earlier this week. I want to read over so that people can hear it. The official Dark Knight Rises synopsis. Now, just so you know, I'm not going to spoil anything because I frankly don't have any information to spoil. Everything that I'll be retelling is pretty much either on a TV spot or in the trailer. But if you'd rather just not know anything, then really, I don't know why you clicked on this link. But yeah, here it goes. Synopsis, The Dark Knight Rises. It has been 8 years since Batman vanished into the night, turning in that instant from hero to fugitive. Assuming the blame for the death of D.A. Harvey Dent, the Dark Knight sacrificed everything for what he and Commissioner Gordon both hoped was the greater good. For a time, the lie worked, as criminal activity in Gotham City was crushed under the weight of the Anti-Crime Dent Act. But everything will change with the arrival of a cunning cat burglar with a mysterious agenda. Far more dangerous, however, is the emergence of Bane, a mass terrorist whose ruthless plans for Gotham drive Bruce out of his self-imposed exile. But even if he dons the cape and cowl again, Batman may be no match for Bane. So that's...
Wow.
That's pretty much the... I would say that feels like that's going to be covered all by the first third of the movie.
And you know, that was the first time I heard that or read that synopsis. And I'd have to agree, there's nothing in there that you wouldn't have pieced together.
Exactly.
The trailers or anything like that. So
I mean,
I'm glad you didn't tell me anything specific, like, I don't know, that the butler was going to die.
That's exactly the exact same joke I was going to say, that Alfred's going to die. Actually, it ends with Anne Hathaway being pregnant, and
sweet,
and the Wayne legacy continuing.
Can it turn into like a goofy pregnancy comedy?
Right. Where is it a boy or a girl? You know, like whatever you want to do, I'll be behind you. You know,
and we can just rename it to Everybody Loves Selena,
or The Dark Knight Expects.
Ooh.
So it's like I bought this bonnet in case it's a girl. You know, just it's it just keeps.
We'll paint it yellow because that's a neutral color.
I don't like green; it's too off-putting. Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. Name him after my father, Thomas. Anyway, so okay, I also want to take this time for the podcast because I wanted to share with all of you out there my experiences filming The Dark Knight Rises. I'll repeat, I was actually in The Dark Knight Rises.
Let's not get too big-headed about this, but
starring me. I am the star.
I will say I'm jealous of it. Boy. So let's just how'd you get the chance to be in it?
You're totally allowed to be jealous, by the way. All right, so I'll say this: it was a combination of luck and obsessive vigilance. There was a period last year where every day, several times a day, I would check out BatmanOnFilm.com, and a site dedicated specifically to on-film interpretations of Batman. And it's been around since, like, Batman Forever, I think, or Batman and Robin, so it's not like it's something that's just jumping on the Nolan bandwagon. And so, you know, it's garnered a lot of respect. And on the website, they revealed that there was, the first 2,000 people to apply to some beinamovie.com website, they would receive passes to go for the stadium shoot, which for one day only, anybody could be an extra in The Dark Knight Rises. So as soon as I saw that, my mind just, after I picked up the pieces of my brain splatter all over the walls, I quickly went into action and tried to figure out, okay, how can I do this that won't fucking kill my budget? Because they're shooting the stadium scene. They shot the stadium scene in Pittsburgh. So when you went to sign up, did you go to like Priceline.com and try to look at airplane tickets? Well, I'm an Orbitz man myself.
Oh, sorry.
But no, it's all right.
To offend.
Turns out podcast brought to you by Orbitz. No, I can't actually. I actually don't remember which. Maybe I used Kayak. Who knows? But I ended up. The first thing I did was sign up for the pass, and then they said I'd receive it in a few days for the confirmation. But then I'm in, and then so the next thing after that was I bought a ticket to Pittsburgh for that weekend, and I realized that it's actually more expensive to buy a Friday ticket leaving on Sunday. So I bought a Thursday ticket leaving on Monday.
So you got to take in the sights and the sounds of beautiful rustic Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, yeah. Well, funny story about all that. But so I had to figure out, okay, lodging, fucking, what do I do? Travel, all that shit. Okay, so what I did was I sent a massive Facebook message on the Batman groups, the various Batman groups that I belong to on Facebook. I sent him a link to this, who wants in? Let's all get in on a hotel or motel so that, we don't have to pay out the nose for it. And I got like 11 replies. Everyone's like, yeah, I'm going. I'm like, yes, awesome. But as the days went by and weeks went by, 11 turned to 9, 9 turned to 5, and eventually turned to fucking just one person.
Besides you, right? It wasn't like the saddest thing ever.
No, yeah. One person besides me and my buddy Sid. Sid Ant, if he's out there listening, you were mentioned. And so, him and I decided to split a motel. And eventually he got 2 of his buddies from college to join us, so it was cool. It was like the 4 of us. Except they weren't going to come in until like the day. It was shooting on Saturday. They weren't going to come in until Friday. So I had to figure out where was I going to stay. And so I did a very risky thing. And I went amongst all the groups, and I figured out which of them actually lived in Pittsburgh. So I ended up just befriending a random guy who lives in Pittsburgh. Like, hey, I got an extra pass for The Dark Knight Rises because I put in a +1. If I can crash at your place, you'll have that other pass. And so the guy was like, yeah, I don't know you. I'm like, yeah, I know, but, you love Batman. You love Batman like me. And you also like Game of Thrones, so, maybe we can start talking, get to know each other a little bit before we, go forward with this. And he's like, you know what? Yeah, why the hell not? Sure. And so it began. And like a few months down the road, I gotten ready to go over there and meet up with this guy. And this guy was, he's like in his late 30s, early 40s. He wasn't some kid. And I reassured him that I'm just, at the time.
You weren't looking for anything serious, and you were just looking for something casual.
I didn't. I wanted them to know that I didn't pose any threat. I'm just some nerd, and I'll be in and out, one and done. Wham bam. Thank you, man.
Yeah, and you've always been all about the business. It's not.
I don't like it. I don't like having eye contact.
Well, who does?
I don't know.
It's too personal.
People who like vanilla sex, I guess. No.
Yeah.
So my friends thought I was crazy for going out of Pittsburgh and just crashing at some stranger's place.
Well, fuck that, dude. That was two, maybe 1.5 steps above Craigslist. Like, hey, can I crash at your place? Like.
I mean, I
come
was
on over. My mom makes great sandwiches.
To my defense, I was really poor at that time, and also to my defense, I wasn't thinking clearly because I was so goddamn in love with Batman. So, and I one way or another, I mean, whether it was going to be sleeping in a guy under the bridge, or in a fucking just a dumpster, I don't give a fuck. I was gonna be part of this thing because it's gonna be the last. I mean, I knew all too well this is gonna be Christopher Nolan's last Batman film, and so I mean, if your parents could choose to be in Return of the Jedi or in The Last Crusade or in the third Godfather, I think pretty much anybody would jump on board.
Yeah, I would. I'm not faulting you for making these decisions. I'm just pointing out that your mother probably isn't too proud about what you did.
She was actually impressed, at the same time worried as hell, and maybe she had some cause to be. Not to be too ominous.
Okay, well let's follow that ominous trail.
So I ended up so it's like Thursday, and no, I'm sorry, it's Wednesday night, and I had some friends over that night. I guess partying, hang out, whatever. But this is, by the way, this is before I had a car. So I had no car, and it was just so I had to con my way into getting a ride. So I offered my buddy Brian who I'm going to have a podcast with soon, by the way, about sound effects and music. We're going to... so I offered, look, I'll... if you crash at my place, you'll be not only closer to your job, so you won't have to trek all the way from Kendall all the way to Aventura to work. Crash at my place, so it's easier for you. I'll make you breakfast, and all you've got to do is drop me off at the airport tomorrow morning.
Now, when was your flight?
It was like a 8 a.m. flight.
So that means you had to be there, what, at 6:30?
6:37. It's a domestic flight, and Fort Lauderdale Airport is really good with getting through.
I'm thinking Miami. So
Miami International is Garbageton, and it's actually the number one busiest airport in the United States, and I didn't know that until last weekend when I went to the Bahamas. Fun little fact there.
I hear they're the number one place to catch some sort of venereal disease from the bathrooms.
That is also true. You can actually get a venereal disease on your eyes just by looking at the bathrooms.
So, It's like traveling on photons.
Oh yeah. It's a particle. That VD is a particle and a wave.
Well, yeah. Let's get Fort Lauderdale. So,
so Brian agreed to the deal. We handshaked it, and we set 2 alarms to it, and we went to bed. Next morning,
let's just not forget the fact that you totally Tom Sawyered him into driving you.
No, it was a good deal, man. He gets to get closer to work because he lives, like I said, he lives all in Kendall. He gets to crash at my place, so he's closer to work. And I promised him breakfast.
Now, I've stayed at your house before or your apartment, and and it's the middle of summer. Or no, I guess you went during winter. So yeah, because your AC sucked, my friend.
No, it was that you actually were there in a very unfortunate period when my AC was down, but it has since then been fixed and not once has broken down. So, dude, you're welcome to come back, and I promise you good AC. And just so you know, it was the summer. That shit was in July of 2011.
Yeah, that was.
And that was totally last year. And so it was comfortable as hell for everybody to crash. A little too comfortable, unfortunately, because his phone had died overnight, and like an idiot, my phone was set to AM instead. It was set to PM instead of AM. Classic rookie mistake. So we wake up literally 15 minutes before my flight, and so it's like Home Alone when they realize that they're late, so everything's just in fast motion. So it was just like that, except I kept my end of the bargain, and I roasted up the stove, started making an omelet, chopping up green and red peppers and onions, and just putting it all together. And it was a pretty good omelet. And I just put it in a Tupperware. I'm like, dude, get ready. I'll make breakfast. I didn't have time to shower or nothing. I already packed the night before because I'm responsible. Well, relatively responsible. And so we jumped in his car. He drove, ironically, just like Bruce Wayne did on the way to save Coleman Reese. And we weaved around traffic, and we finally got there. And I'm like, all right, dude, thanks a lot. I gotta go by. And so I leave. I make sure I got my ticket, my ticket, and my pass, and everything. Okay, everything good, secured on my cargo pocket. I check in. I have no luggage to check, so that's good. Just my carry-on.
That's probably the smartest movie made all morning.
Yeah, I agree. So and security, no one's in line. Because it's like a Thursday morning, it's Fort Lauderdale, and it's really early. And then so I'm like, yes, awesome, maybe I'll make it. As I fucking get there, I look at my clock, dude, it's 8:02, and my flight leaves for 8 o'clock. And so it's 8:02, and I'm like, oh god, I hope I made it. As I'm doing it, they're closing the door, and the hatch is detaching from the plane, and I see my dreams get ready for liftoff and fly away. And I just fall on my knees. It's the most natural, most guttural response. I wasn't being dramatic or anything. I literally fell to my knees, and I'm like, no! And so, I go to the flight attendant, and I'm like, you gotta stop that plane. I gotta get on it. And it's like, I'm sorry, sir. Already. I'm like, in my 26 years of being alive and taking airplanes, you guys always leave 20 minutes after the hour. Why? why of all these times do you leave 2 minutes afterwards? And I'm like, I'm sorry, sir. The best I can do is book you for the next flight, no charge. And I'm like, what time? And he said 8:30. It's in half an hour from now. And I'm like, oh,
you
all right.
bastard.
So I'm like,
that's the luckiest. That's the luckiest I've
that's
ever
great.
heard.
He's like, yes, but you'll be on the there's like a no show. So there's like one slot.
You were on standby.
So I made the standby. The no show announced to be a no show. So there was like one slot and I got it. So I was extremely lucky. Anyway, so I get on the flight, I land in Pittsburgh, and I call Guy. He says I don't have a car either. So what you're gonna have to do, and Pittsburgh is fucked up. You got to take a bus that'll take you, it'll take you to downtown, and then from downtown you can go anywhere else. But what's stupid is that the airport was literally just a little bit south of where I was supposed to go, and so but to get to where I had to go, some like suburban kind of boondock area, I had to go all the way south to downtown, take another bus all the way up north again. It was the most ridiculous thing I ever heard of, and but I did it. I met up, but he decided to meet me up in downtown, so it wouldn't be that much of a hassle. Super nice guy. The guy was like 6'3", I would say 350 pounds, but he was a teddy bear. Super nice guy.
And what was his name again?
I'd rather not say, but let's call him Richard.
Oh yeah, I was just about to ask for a fake. Now, if we're picking fake names, do you really want to go with Richard?
I think it'll fit. Was
he a dick?
Like I said, it was a teddy bear. While we're waiting on the bus, we decided to kind of walk around and take in Pittsburgh, and it was awesome because it felt like Gotham City, except it was like 5 square blocks, but it was super condensed, old New York kind of look, kind of, like you said, like a kind of that rustic architecture. So it felt really like Gotham City. I'm like, fuck, this is awesome. Too bad it's only 8 blocks. Camera zooms out. It's like surrounded by just like hills and pastures and like redneck looking country.
I had no idea.
It's hilarious.
I had no idea. What did you know about Pittsburgh before you went there?
That they're known for steel and the Steelers. That's pretty much it.
So they make steel, or are they thieves?
Yes, no. They used to make steel, but then Mexico undercut the prices, so now all that steel business is going to Mexico, who stole their distributing clients. If I could do a pun there. Well,
so are the Mexicans the Steelers, or are the people still in Pittsburgh the Steelers? I'm not getting.
It's the Pittsburgh Steelers that, ironically, might move to Mexico if the economy keeps dropping the way it is.
Now we're getting political.
No, well, that's just the situation. It's they used to be the number 1 distributor of steel in the U.S., and now Mexico is. And
Mexico is the number 1 distributor in the U.S.
It's the number 1 U.S. distributor of steel. It's the number 1 distributor of steel to the U.S.
Oh, gotcha.
I guess, yeah, we import steel now from Mexico rather than get it from Pittsburgh. Politics. And so he was telling me how pretty much the city's going to shit. And, we started, sharing life stories. I'm an editor and I work for a production company. I helped start in college. And he's actually a teacher. And he has this program. I totally forgot what the program is called, but essentially he teaches foreign language speakers how to improve their English. So it's like if someone has like a year 1 worth of English, he teaches them along and he grades them online. So like basically there's like an oral test that you record and you email it to him. So it's like a virtual teacher, a virtual English teacher, so to speak. And we started talking a little bit about personal life. Recently, his parents had passed away, so he inherited a house. And he has a Russian girlfriend. He's been divorced. He actually went to one of the things that he admired about me was the fact that I went as far as Pittsburgh to stay with a stranger just so I could watch this, because he had done something similar when he moved to Paris with his girlfriend, and then they got married. Only to end in shambles, but at least it was like a spur of the moment kind of thing, and he followed through with it. So, yeah, a lot of mutual respect there. And he was actually warning me about his knife collection, not to be creeped out or nothing. I'm like, hey, man, everyone's got their hobby. And so eventually went back to his place, which he called a dump. By the way, this place is bigger than mine. He's got a 2-story. It's a 2-story townhouse. It's real nice looking neighborhood. And he had like a little den that he set up for me with like a futon, and it's like it was perfect. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. He like walked me around the area so I can buy some food. And by the way, Pittsburgh things are cheaper, so I was actually able to like for like $30 get like a bunch of just like chicken and like some side vegetables and some juice, and I was able to basically have food for the next 5 days. So I was actually pretty proud of my my spending.
Visit Pittsburgh for the groceries.
I mean, you as a chosen one should be able to appreciate my frugality. You should be able to.
Thanks for bringing it up.
Well, you know, it courses through my veins. Oh, I didn't tell you, by the way, did I? That I found out that I have the royal blood.
Yeah. Everybody thinks they got a little Jew in them. But...
No, it's Camachos are an offshoot family of the Cohen, which is, I believe, the original Jewish surname.
Oh,
yeah.
Look at you throwing out some. Yeah, I had no clue that was the original surname. Where'd you hear that? Did a Cohen tell you?
Yeah, some guy named Jake told me. No, I remember that offhand. I think someone was lecturing my mom about that, and then she just kind of forwarded it to me. But yeah, that it explains a lot, because, like I said, most of my girlfriends have been Jewish, and you know, Hispanics and Jews, we're not so different. You know, we like curvy women, and we believe our batteries will recharge in the fridge. That's what I've always said. So, all right. So I'm crashing in his place, and what happened? Oh yeah. So I go online, you know, send my I'm safe mom emails and all that, and so I check up on my pass, because I haven't received it yet, and it turns out I'm on the waiting list to go, and I'm like, what? No. What's going on? And I call the guy. I call the number that's attached to the website, and he says, "Oh, it's because you have a +1, and we got overbooked. So only people who are going by themselves, or people who got individual tickets, are allowed to go. But if you go ahead and remove the +1 status, it should work, and you should get your pass." And so I'm forced with a dilemma. Obviously, I go forward and remove the +1 status and get the form and get the pass. But now I have to explain it to the 6'3" guy who's 350 some odd pounds that I won't be able to keep my end of the bargain. Yeah,
this really is a moral conundrum.
It is. So I'm wrestling with it, but I decided to come clean, come hell or high water, and I was actually what is it? I was looking for him. He wasn't there. He comes back with like a really sad face, and I'm like, fuck, something bad happened. I can just read off his face. Something bad happened, and he's going to be upset. And on top of that, I got to tell him like horrible news. And so and he's like, and so I look at him like, dude, you're not going to believe it. He goes, dude, you're not going to believe it. And I'm like, you go first. And he's like, I just got a last minute phone call from my supervisor. I have a meeting between 2 and 4 p.m. tomorrow, and I know that you can't come in and out of the stadium when you start shooting, so I won't be able to go tomorrow. And I'm just like, that sucks, bro. That sucks. That's terrible.
Oh, I gotta go make a phone call.
Oh, we're gonna. Oh, that's awful. That's just awful. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. How long did you just give him that face?
The whole time. I walked.
I feel so bad for you, bro.
I walked backwards just so I can linger on that face longer. But yeah, once I got into the bathroom, I did that typical sitcom celebratory dance, but trying to keep as quiet as possible. But yeah, so that I was able to pull that off, luckily. And then that night, because the stadium's in downtown, I had the wherewithal to book a spot in a Motel 6 that was really close to the stadium, and sleep there that night. So I slept over at Richard's place from Thursday to Friday morning, and then Friday night between Saturday, I slept over at the motel, which I shared with Sid and 2 other friends, or rather, it was two bedrooms, 2 people each, and so the next morning we got ready, we had our passes, and it's kind of like Southwest. I don't know if you ever took a Southwest flight, but like there's like an A group, a B group, and a C group, and depending on how early you signed on, it'll determine how ahead you'll be from the other groups. Well, I signed that shit on fucking like I think I was like the first within 100 people to sign in for that. So I was like wave 1. There were waves instead of groups. So I was wave 1, which means we get the first line of shuttles, of bat shuttles, which were basically school buses, which is really cool because it felt like the Joker and the Dark Knight, and except these school buses had like a bat symbol on the back, so it was fucking really awesome. Not spray painted on or nothing, just like tagged onto it. So we wake up like really early. We're supposed to get there at they said don't get there more than an hour ahead of what your ticket says. Our shit said like 8 o'clock, so show up at 7. We said fuck that, we'll show up at 6 because we predicted there's going to be some sort of hassle or whatever, so we wanted to avoid all that. So we wake up at 6. We get a quick to go breakfast from McDonald's, and on the way there, we encounter what can only be described as the worst traffic known to man. It was awful.
Now, is that a typical Pittsburgh thing, did you come to find out?
Apparently it was, and not only was this whole thing being shut down because of production, but there was construction on top of that. And I'm just like, what's with my life? It just keeps throwing me like these curveballs, but then it also throws me these life rafts.
So now, that's what I'm saying is, did you not learn by then that you had some force of good behind you?
I didn't know what to think because I was stuck in traffic. It was fucking 7:30 and we're still like just stop and go traffic. We finally like park at 7:45. We have to run all the way there. By the time we get there, it's like 8. It's like 8:05 or something, a little bit past it, and we see the shuttles leaving. And we just see the shuttles and we're just like, again, like I don't know if you've seen the Dark Knight 2nd and 3rd trailer, but it cuts to like the kids in the school bus with the really sad faces as the bridge explodes.
Yes.
That's exactly my face and Sid's and the other kids' faces, and we're just like, no. And we're just this time I have company in my loud no, so we're all kind of just like grabbing each other's shoulders and like in a weird awkward square, and we're all just yelling no to each other. But then one of the supervisor, coordinator, PA people with the fucking headset and the ponytail, he was like, "Oh, don't worry, guys, you'll just be in front of the second wave." And we're like, "Yeah, small consolation, but whatever." So we get in, and we actually, and when they say first, they meant like on the first bus, but we're actually on the last. We're at the end of the line of the first bus of the second wave. And so we're relatively upset. I mean, we're still super ecstatic because we're here, but we're relatively upset. And so we end up we get on the bus, and what's cool when you're at the end of the line of the bus, you're actually in front in the front row of the bus seats.
So that's a good thing.
That was a good thing. So hey, all right, not too bad. Whatever. So we get on, and we travel all through Pittsburgh. And we finally get to the stadium, and as we get in, they're like dropping rose petals and handing us those luau things from Hawaii. No, I'm kidding. But no, essentially, we get really well greeted. We get handed a sandwich bag, like a paper bag, and inside, there's a granola bar, an apple, a small little pony water bottle, like those little half water bottles.
Okay, yeah.
Fucking. Then it gets kind of weird. Sunblock, and a little personal size of sunblock, and earplugs, and we're like, another mystery. And I mean, I knew that we're gonna be there all day, and it's gonna be hot as hell, and we had to shoot as if we're in the winter, so we had to carry jackets and shit. So it was kind of a sacrifice. But I had pre-packed some food and stuff, so I was prepared. So I was glad to get this on top of it, plus an umbrella in case it rains or for actually shade, which we end up using it more for. So as I'm walking into the stadium, I noticed that the top nosebleed row in the stadium is all filled. And then we were being placed front and center.
See, there's that fate knocking at your door again.
I was always meant to miss that first bus. And the more I get settled, the more I feel like I just get this air of destiny, you know? Like I can hear the Hans Zimmer theme as I walk in, and I'm just like, oh my God, is this fucking happening? And then so as I'm sitting there and the stadium's getting filled up, I just get this feeling of like, holy crap, I just realized I'm in a stadium full of Batman fans. Not only Batman fans, but people obsessed with Batman enough to sign up early enough.
And now, did you talk to a lot of the people that were going to be there?
Like waiting in line and stuff? Yeah. I even hit on some of the girls that were kind of around and stuff. Like, hey, what's going on, baby? You like Batman? I like Batman. Anyway, but it didn't really pan out to anything. I was actually seriously more concerned with, like, you know, seeing some cameos and stuff. Which we were assured we would see a lot of the cast and crew. So as I'm there, I just get this feeling of fucking I got to do something. And so I fucking I stand up, I clap my hands, and I say, "Let's go Gotham!" And I do it again, except Sid joins me without even me having to tell him anything or even look at him. "Let's go Gotham!" And then the third time I do it, I swear to God, dude, the entire fucking stadium says it with me. "Let's go Gotham!" And I just it just hit me where I was and who I was with and what's about to happen. And it was just one of those like surreal moments. Like, I can't believe this is happening. But yeah, it was pretty fucking awesome. And so as we're sitting there, we actually get the Pledge of Allegiance, which you see a little bit of in the second trailer. Mm-hmm. A little boy named CJ Coyne, and he fucks up the first two takes, but we all back him up. CJ, whatever. And it's fine. They shift us around a bit. What's kind of cool is that, well, the stadium gets fucked up, as you see in the trailer, but instead of like fucking up one side or instead of having to fill up the entire stadium, Nolan decides to only, or I guess the production only decides to fill up half the stadium and then like flip us around and make us move on the other half to shoot the other half of the stadium. So it's kind of cool seeing like old school tricks, you know, instead of just CGIing everybody into the other end. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So between takes, when they would switch the cameras around, I guess between scenes,
yeah, they moved
like,
us.
Okay, you guys need to walk to section 314 now.
Right, exactly, and they just big herd of people shift from one side to the other. But as I'm there, before we even start shooting, I start seeing some faces that I think I recognize. So I'm there, and I'm like, holy shit, who's that guy in the cowboy hat? Academy Award-winning Wally Pfister, dude. The DP himself. I'm just like, what? He's there. It's awesome. Tom Hardy showed up, and he's like in his like in a fisherman's hat and like a wife beater, and he like sprawling his tattoos and stuff, and just like waving. And everyone's going crazy, and I'm like, that's awesome. And then I see a guy like in a sports blazer. And I'm like, wait a second. I recognize that hairline anywhere. Christopher Nolan, dude. Walks on the fucking grass like a total pimp.
What was your initial reaction?
A little something like this. I never understood the girls going so crazy at a Beatles concert in those black and white films until I saw Nolan within 50 feet of me. I felt my blood wanted to shoot out of my eyeballs. Like it just wanted to. But I said, no, not today. I can't today. So I kept my shit together as much as I could. And after dealing like a little girl, he commanded silence and said a few words, thanking everybody for showing up to the production and just instructing all of us that, you know, you got some earplugs because there's going to be some explosions. And we're like, God, this is so awesome. And be sure to keep hydrated. There'll be people around. And it was kind of cool, you know, because there's, you know, basically the film industry has a cliche of hurry up and wait, you know? So that basically we gotta rush to when it's time to for the shot. But then once you finish doing that, you gotta wait forever until the next setup. So there was some some comedic, some cheap C grade comedic stylings between the takes by some guy who was kind of hosting the whole event. There was a raffle ticket giveaway. We didn't. Long story short, we didn't win anything, but we stayed till the very end just in case. Fucking.
What were the prizes that you could have won?
Oh, that's the coolest part. It ranged from like fucking old school Batman comic books, and like retro comic books, but then like you could also win a Chrysler. And
wow.
Yeah, so it was like everything in between. TV and like tickets to actually see The Dark Knight Rises in LA for the premiere. A bunch of awesome shit.
Was there anything that really, really caught your eye that you really wanted?
It was the premiere tickets because you get to meet the cast and crew. So I really wanted to go to the premiere more than the car, because the car I could always. I mean, the car is awesome because you can sell it. Plus, I don't have a car, so I would have maybe kept it. But more than anything else, I really wanted those premiere tickets. But whatever. I just wanted to win anything at that point. They also threw like T-shirts and stuff. They had T-shirt guns and shit. And none of us got any T-shirts or merchandise. But I felt like we had still won because we were right front and center, and we got to see all the action. At some point, it was fucking sick. Not one, not two, but 3 tumblers in the desert camo colors rolled up, and like one of them had a Tourette, and it pointed at like the audience, and everybody kind of played along and like ducked and stuff, and then it pointed at the ground, and it fucking exploded like a shot. It looked like it shot something. I mean, it didn't shoot anything. The explosive was timed, but it was super effective and very convincing. So
3 tumblers roll up, and do you think they were shooting the scenes chronologically?
Oh, I think they were just there for our benefit. I'm not so sure if they... I mean, they were probably shooting that stuff, but no, they definitely did not shoot this chronologically because they shot the forward pass and, like, the football play. They shot it, like, 9 times without any explosives. We're just, like, running and stuff. And they instructed us. Some guy came out, all right, what I need you guys to do is you're watching the football game, so you're cheering on the Gotham City Rogues. That's the fictional team. Oh, a cool side story. The day before, I went to the mall at Pittsburgh, and I bought a huge kind of like cloth banner for the Steelers, which had the same colors as the fictional football team, the Gotham City Rogues.
Okay.
Also the same colors for the Turns Out podcast. And it's black and gold. And we weren't allowed to bring any logos. No bat logos, obviously. Nothing that references Pittsburgh or the Steelers directly. However, this banner said "Love Ya Black and Gold," which are the colors of the Gotham City Rogues. So I passed, and I asked one of the PAs if I could use it. The guy said, "Yeah, it's fine as long as it doesn't have any Steelers logos or the word Steelers on it, or the word Pittsburgh." So I'm like, "Fuck yeah, awesome!" So every single take that needed us to cheer, I waved the "Love Ya Black and Gold" banner. So someone actually might. I have a reference point to see myself, hopefully, either on the IMAX or on Blu-ray when that comes out. So that's it's awesome that I just might have something to point at and be like, "That's me."
And I can only imagine what, especially for somebody like you who's so into these movies and really respects it as art, to be a part of that. That's
my God,
super cool.
I can't begin to tell you the excitement. Not only that, it's the only thing there that's like not cardboard or like clearly homemade. Like this was a banner that was, the factory made. So I'll be able I should be able to point myself out relatively easy. So anyway, as the thing progresses, they show the explosions, which are fucking sick. Because they're air explosions. And the thing with pyrotechnic explosions, there's a lot of smoke, and it takes a long time to clear out and settle. But these were like air explosions, so actually you see more debris. So it's
okay.
So it was really awesome, and seeing like the football player, run the field and having explosions explode. Well, it did 2 separate takes. One is him running the field, and then him falling into a hole, and then afterwards they did the explosion separately. But we had to react each time, and so like by now we're like super sweaty. It's really hot. We're all dressed as if it was winter, but we pull it off, and it was just great. It was just a fucking awesome just experience. And then like by the end of the day, Nolan had some really nice words to share, and his sharing his gratitude, whatnot. And by the end of it, the last thing we did was shoot the Pledge of Allegiance. And for when I saw they were shooting the Pledge of Allegiance, I purposely got out of my place and got closer to the IMAX camera, so I might show up in the Pledge of Allegiance scene. So keep a lookout. So that's exciting. So we'll see how that comes along. But by the end of the day, we ended up going back to the motel. And that night, the next morning, they dropped me off where I was staying at Richard's place. Right now it's Sunday. And so I leave the next day. So that night, and earlier, Richard's such a fucking nice guy. He laminated my pass, which I still have on my bat shrine. So I'll probably show that off some point later on Facebook.
But have you talked openly about the bat shrine before? I have seen it with my own eyes.
Oh, not yet. But just so everyone knows out there, especially all you ladies, know that I have a bat shrine in my bedroom, and it's quite glorious. I've actually added to it since you've seen it.
Ooh,
yeah.
Because I mean, it already got me to that very special place.
Oh yeah, and it's got like the little it's got the 5-inch action figures, and I got Batman.
They're only 5 inches. They seemed bigger.
Well, with the right light. No, it's the they're where they lack in length, they make up for in girth.
Okay, and points of articulation.
And precision. No, the durability. There's like the masters, which are like the like the 7-inch ones, and then they're like the smaller 5-incher ones. The ones that I have. I have Batman. I got Joker, Two-Face, Bane, Catwoman, and I took the Bruce Wayne in training action figure, and I give him a goatee, and I give him wings on his hair. And I made him Ra's al Ghul.
Did they not sell a Ra's al Ghul?
I didn't find one, not a 5-inch one. So it's been tough to find. But I promise you, dude, it's super convincing. And all I need is Scarecrow, but all the 5-inch Scarecrows are like hallucinogen Scarecrows, so it's kind of weird and off-putting. I don't know why they would do that. Just make a normal fucking 5-inch Scarecrow.
Yeah, because I think I've seen one of the bigger Scarecrows that looks pretty convincing, but it might have been like a statuette.
Yeah, no, it was weird. But anyway, story's not over, believe it or not. I once I get to Richard's place, whatever, he's working, whatever. I tell him all about it, and he's relatively happy for me. Obviously, he's pissed off because he couldn't go, but definitely didn't take it out on me or nothing. So later that night, it gets really hot, and I didn't want to wake him up. So I moved the air conditioning 2 degrees, and at 3 a.m. he actually comes down the stairs and like makes a huge racket in the kitchen, and I wake up, and he goes to me and says, "Julian, why are you trying to bitch me?" And I'm like, "What?" "Yeah, why are you trying to bitch me? Did you fuck with the air conditioning?" And I'm like, I did. I lowered it 2 degrees. I'm so sorry. I'll pay what the difference is. You just don't get it, do you? I'm like, I am so sorry. You're not sorry. And he just walks back upstairs. And I'm like super creeped out. I'm like, what the fuck did I just do?
Whoa. And how did the conversation end before he walked out?
Him just fucking repeating to himself, he's repeating to himself, "You're not sorry," as he walks back upstairs.
Oh my god. Okay, keep going.
It's the scariest thing. So then
that's
two
a
more
legitimately creepy thing.
And this guy's huge. This guy is fucking 6'3" and 250 pounds. And so this guy comes back down again like 2 hours after that. And I couldn't sleep after that conversation, but I was just about to doze off, and he comes back down again, and he's like, "I'm sorry to do this to you, but I can't," because the original idea was that he had to leave for Chicago that Monday morning, but my flight wasn't until 5 p.m. And he was so nice, kind of strangely nice, to leave me the key and have me lock up behind him. Like, have me stay there until I had to leave. Like, he was willing to do that. And I was, like, pretty hesitant. But I'm like, hey, if he's cool with it and he trusts me, you know, I'm not going to do anything stupid or nothing, you know? But at that point, he's like, look, I'm sorry. I know we talked about it, but I don't feel comfortable leaving you behind. Like, I completely understand. I get it. Maybe I can just go to the airport with you. And it's like, look, I haven't been honest with you. Richard starts. Look.
And, you know, that is probably one of the worst things to preface a statement with.
It's the worst thing to hear. It's the worst thing to hear from someone who just lost his cool earlier over a goddamn 2 degrees on the air conditioning.
Or its cousin, like, you should really know something about me.
There's something you should know about me. It's basically what he said. And he was like, I didn't go to France to live with my girlfriend.
What?
I didn't go to. No, I went to France because I had run away from an institution. And the reason why he even agreed to me coming by is because he didn't have any friends, and he was wondering if he could be sociable for a weekend. And he really wanted to be. And he was very flattered by the fact that I wanted to extend him the invitation to go to the Dark Knight Rises stadium set. And at this point, I'm like staring around the room, looking for any kind of exits and weapons. And he says, yeah, I'm actually back in treatment. And so your girlfriend's picking... Oh, she's not my girlfriend. She's my nurse. I'm actually going to Chicago to see my doctor.
Oh my God.
I'm just like, Jesus Christ. And I'm like, well...
Hold on, before you go on. What are you wearing?
Oh, fucking wife beater and, like, sweatpants.
Okay.
So I'm just like, well, I didn't notice anything at all, and I want to thank you so much for being. And I'm like heading towards the door and like getting my stuff, and I completely understand with your discomfort, and again, I just want to say that I would have never guessed. Again, thank you so much, and I'll head out. And he's like, yeah, I'm sorry. And look, nothing's really open right now. The McDonald's should open up in an hour or so, and after that, the buses should come around 7. And he's like, and I just feel so terrible to put you out like this. No, it's okay, please. And he reaches into his back pocket, and I'm like, I'm gonna die. This is the part where he stabs me with a love knife, and my parents will never know exactly what happened. Friends will ask me, hey, whatever happened to that Julian guy? Yeah, he was a funny guy, but
I remember him. He was talking on Facebook about going to see Batman or something. But...
He never came back from Pittsburgh, did he? Yeah. No, but he ends up pulling out his wallet, and he goes, look, here, just take it. He takes out like 3 5s and a couple singles, and I'm like, no, I couldn't possibly. No, please take it. I'll feel terrible. I really couldn't. No way. And he's like, take it. And I'm like, you know, I'll take it if it makes you feel better. So I take it. I get my book bag, and it's pretty awkward because as I'm leaving, I want to say something like thank you. At the same time, I want to say something to make him feel guilty for kicking me out at fucking 5 a.m. at Pittsburgh night in a strange state I don't know. And so I say, you know, I hope you find everything looking for in Chicago. I really do. And as I'm leaving, he goes, oh, wait, Julian. I'm like, what? And he's like, here, you forgot your folder. I'm like, oh, thanks. And so, like, it's funny because I couldn't leave. I kept because I left so quickly, I kept leaving stuff behind. So I kept coming back and forth. So it's really, really you forgot your jacket. I forgot my jacket, too. Yeah, okay, it's in the closet. He kept
like you left his house and came back?
Yes, like at least 3 times because I kept leaving stuff. I kept remembering that I'm leaving stuff behind.
How far would you get before turning around?
Like down the hill, like at least 5 blocks. It was pretty upsetting, and it kept getting more and more awkward, and he kept getting more and more impatient. as a kid. But luckily, the last thing I think I still end up leaving. I think like a shirt back there, but at that point, I didn't give a shit. But luckily, this was the same summer that what's it called? That Song of Ice and Fire, the 5th book came out, A Dance of Dragons.
Uh-huh.
So I had a book to pass the time with.
Oh, but, see, well, that's all you need.
No, yeah, so it wasn't too bad. So eventually, I got me a McGriddles at McDonald's, and what was it? I ended up taking the bus all the way back to downtown to go all the way back to the airport. And, of course, the traffic was disgusting because of the shooting. But I got there, and I had some time to kill, and so I get to the airport, and I go, hey, so my flight isn't for another 7 hours. I was wondering if I can get an earlier flight. And the guy's like, okay, your flight is I see here it's for 7 p.m. I have a 6 p.m. flight. I'm like, that's the absolute best you can do? Yes, I'm really sorry. Everything else is booked. And I'm like, all right. So I take the ticket. I go upstairs, and I try my luck one more time. With
a different person?
With the agent, yeah, with the actual gate agent. And I'm like, hey, so do you have any earlier flights to Fort Lauderdale? And he goes like, no, but there's a flight that lays over at what was it in Pittsburgh, in Georgia, and
in Atlanta, I guess.
Right, and maybe you can grab a flight from there. And that should be a sooner one. And I'm like, all right, great. When does that flight leave? In half an hour. And I'm like, awesome, great. So I take that flight, and I get to Atlanta. I think about like 2 hours later, I get to Atlanta, and I see and I try my luck one more time. Like, hey, are there any earlier flights to Fort Lauderdale? And the lady says, well, we can put you on the standby list, and that flight leaves in half an hour. So I'm like, all right, sweet, awesome. So
I just want to stop you because I hate where this is going, because I know you're going to get exactly what you want. And I don't think I've ever had that good of an experience at an airport, and it makes me just hate you a little inside.
Well, keep waiting.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, is it okay if I tell the rest of the story?
Well, there's a fly ball here. So I'm on the standby list, and there's one person who's like doesn't make it. So there's like one slot open, and but there's like 3 of us, and one of them's a girl, and she's actually pretty cute. She's heading to Orlando, and so she's got more flights to take after that. And, we started talking a bit. And it's funny. One thing I left out was, as I kept getting tickets, I kept exaggerating, like, my circumstance. Like, look, like the second time, like, look, there's a family emergency. I got to get back as soon as I can. What can you do for me? At this point, I was getting more and more specific and more drastic and more of a top. Like, look, it's a family emergency. My brother's in the hospital. I have to be there. What's the earliest you can give me? Whatever. And so, like, I'm telling this fictional story to this chick who, her and I guess, are kind of competing for the slot. And then another person becomes free. And so then it's time for me and her to decide. And he goes, so are you 2 guys together? And we're like, oh, no, we just met. We're separate. And he goes, okay, well, there's one slot open. And then she looks at me, and I look at her. And I'm about to say, ladies first. And before I could say it, she goes, family first.
You just guilted a stranger to just doing something convenient for you.
I totally did. Hey, whatever, man. She's hot. She's gonna have so many. I'm sure she's manipulated several strangers to do whatever she wants. So I don't feel
as a reasonably attractive person, I kind of take offense to that.
You're a very attractive person, guy, which is why I don't feel any guilt at all for taking advantage of your kind. Too long have you people been advantaging of us average to fair-looking types.
No, so. you're a good-looking man. I'm sure you've had drinks bought for you before. You've had Countless lines of cocaine snorted off your man boobs.
I don't like to brag about the moobs, but they've bumped a rail or two. No, no, gross, dude. Gross, dude. Cocaine, gross, dude. So I get back, I tell a whole story to my mom, and she's like, "Wow, only you would get into these situations." And I go, "Yeah, but only me would get out of these situations as well." And then she corrected my grammar after that, and I said, "Just drive, Mom, all right?" But
what a great little ending.
Thanks, buddy.
Or hopefully there's like an addendum or some kind of epilogue.
Well, when I got home, they released because we weren't allowed to take pictures or nothing. We weren't allowed to take pictures or even bring cell phones in or whatever.
I was about to ask about cell phones. Did you have to like put them in a little storage box or something, or just
no? But there was enough ushers out there not to risk it, and they said if you get caught using a cell phone in non-cell phone designated areas, you will be asked to leave. So I didn't want to risk it. However, there was an appointed photographer taking pictures for that day, and I showed up in not one but 2 pictures amongst the thousands of pictures. And my 3.
Do you have those handy?
Those are all on Facebook, which you can all check out in my Julian Camacho Facebook. But I'm gonna actually, before I post this, I'm gonna post them on my Turns Out Productions. So if you visit Turns Out Productions on my Facebook group, you should be able to check those out. So those will be readily available. But yeah, man,
Is there anything else you want to plug right now?
Actually, I would like to plug the latest album by local hip hop star. His name is Freezy. Yes,
Freezy. His name is Freezy. Mother trucker.
Oh, he quite is. And this is the title. The title of his album is Zero Gray Matters, Matilda. Now, I'm not sure if this is for Matilda or that's the actual name of the title, but I think Zero Gray Matters is a pretty, and gray is spelled Grae.
Yeah, he sounds deep.
Oh, he is. His lyrics are only as deep as the bass that his beats hit.
Do you think James Cameron could sail to his depths?
Not on that little like uni submarine he used to shoot a documentary. He's gonna need like 2 of those, or like that thing what's that weird thruster thing that in the abyss that helped what's his name, Ed Harris.
Oh, I have
get to
no
the bottom.
idea.
I don't remember what that was, but anyway, yeah, you definitely need to get like those liquid oxygen in your lungs before you try to reach those particular depths. Now that I have you on the pod and we're about to close things off and take them home, do you have anything that you'd like to plug?
No, I don't have anything I'd like to plug. I wish I had something to plug.
Well, I definitely appreciate you coming by. It was an absolute delight. I hope the story was to your satisfaction. In terms of peaks and valleys?
It wasn't the best story I've ever heard. I'm not going to lie to you.
Come on, it was pretty up there, dude.
It was good.
I saw Nolan.
It was definitely good. Like, I'm trying to think of what it was. It was like Temple of Doom.
You dick.
And no. Hear me out. It's great by itself. When compared to better stories, it looks pretty bad. But if you don't look at the stories surrounding it, it's a great story.
That's great. Well,
and it comes with some crazy people, plenty of strangers in exotic locations,
some twists and turns. You laughed, you cried, you cheered.
No, like monkeys or anything. Your story didn't have enough monkeys.
I didn't learn to swing on vines via monkeys. That is true. I guess the story's missing that.
So maybe the next story you tell about something Batman.
I also never got into a fridge to avoid a nuclear blast. That is also true.
Well, that's your loss.
No, yeah.
Because they say no better way to travel than lead-lined refrigerator.
And of course, there's no twist that turns out they're aliens. None of that. Sadly, none.
No, because that never happens.
Yeah,
anymore.
Well, I semi-apologize for not meeting your standards. However, there's also a caveat there in the shape of a go fuck yourself. So.
Oh no! You misinterpret me. My standards were met. I have low standards.
Oh, great, excellent. Which this makes the story that bad of an achievement. Whatever. Point is, I'm going to assume all of this rhetoric comes from a place of jealousy and envy, which is totally righteous. So I totally accept the hate. By all means.
No. You know I'm just joshing you.
Oh, I know, buddy.
Legs are being yanked.
Well.
Chains are being pulled.
Leave my legs and chains alone unless you're willing to finish what you started. Either way, dude, we gotta do this again. This time you get to actually speak.
I'm noticing now I didn't really say that much. I was kind of just listening to your story. And I think that's a testament to your story.
Of how awesome it is. I agree.
And
we definitely
shut me up.
Definitely for the review, there's gonna be a lot more back and forth, and because I like to get your 2 cents. And yeah, dude.
Exactly. I feel like I want to just can we just talk about Game of Thrones for an hour or something? Because I'd be down with that.
Oh, we're gonna definitely have a Game of Thrones podcast since my other co-hosts keep flicking out on me. Mike Braverman, Diego Abreu, Brian Pitts. They all keep flaking out. So we're definitely going to be having a Game of Thrones podcast coming up. And like I said, if I can't get in touch with Felix beforehand, we should definitely have a Spider-Man review podcast. But either way, this is going to only be part 1 of the Dark Knight Rises podcast. Part 2 will be a review and a look back at the Nolan franchise.
Well, I'm very excited for that, Julian.
Awesome, Benjamin. Thank you very much for coming by, dude. It was quite awesome, and we definitely have to. Side note, I want to ask if you are at all caught up on any of the Miller stories, specifically Time Crooks, Super Crooks.
Oh, you know what? I haven't read any of that stuff. The only things I'm reading right now, I'm reading some Marvel stuff. I've been up to date on, but it's
X-Men versus Avengers.
I have been reading that. It's readable. It's fun.
I haven't gotten into it. I've actually been purely on. When I do read, it's just been Millar stuff because I've been very disillusioned with himself. But anyway.
No, then I do want to plug something, so I get time to plug something. And it's not even mine. You need to John Hickman.
Okay.
He's writing for Marvel right now, and he has a couple comics, I think, through Image. And he's a phenomenal writer. He's doing Ultimate Avengers right now.
Nice.
Which is just mind-blowingly awesome.
I seriously hope it's better than the run by oh God, what's his name? The guy who did
Jeff Loeb
Jeff Loeb. I hope it's better than Jeff Loeb stuff. Sadly.
Gross. But that's if I could plug one thing, that's what I would plug. And he's also doing a comic through Image. What's it called? It's called The Manhattan Projects.
Oh, cool.
And basic premise, the quest for the atomic bomb was just, the believable lie that they told everyone when really there was a bunch of other stuff they were researching, all sorts of crazy stuff. That's
awesome. That's kind of like the Alcatraz premise, where everyone disappeared and they were told that they were transferred, but really it was some kind of time travel stuff. But that's really cool, man. I definitely want to keep up on that. It's called Manhattan Projects, plural.
Plural, and that's
awesome.
That's the grab right there.
Awesome, dude. Well, I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for swinging by.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, dude. Definitely next time. But until then, I want to thank everyone for listening. I want to thank Skype, Sony Vegas, GarageBand for making all this possible, and Facebook for distribution. And, of course, be sure to catch The Dark Knight Rises, coming out July 20th. And, until next time, everyone, Thank you for listening. And don't forget to hold fast and stay sharp.